Hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Cortney Bloomer. Today's episode is brought to you by Classy Seconds Thrift Shop in Carson City. Visit them at their new location on Highway 50 East. Purchases made at Classy Seconds support advocates to end domestic violence here in our community. I'm joined today by Tony Manfredi, the Executive Director of the Nevada Arts Council. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you here. The Nevada Arts Council is a statewide organization that supports arts here in Nevada. Tell us a little bit, high level, what does NAC do?
Sure. So as you mentioned, it's a state art agency. We receive funding from the federal government through a National Endowment of the Arts grants, as well as with the state. We have 5 program areas of focus: artist services, arts learning component, getting arts in the schools. We have a folk life and heritage cultural program. We have a grants program that a lot of people know us for, which we grant about $1 million a year through that. And then we have a community arts development program where we come into the communities and help with community issues related to arts and culture.
And a lot of the work that Nevada Arts Council does benefits us right here in Carson City, particularly some of those arts and education initiatives and also the community art. Tell us about if people here in Carson City wanted to sort of understand the impact of the NAC on what we have here in our community, what do you do here?
Well, we do send out, there's the information that we give out for grants, as we mentioned, grant funding that we do for Carson City. So that is anywhere from organizations, arts organizations that are here, Brewery Arts Center as an example, to individual artists who are working on particular projects. So we actually serve citizens and residents throughout the state in that capacity. Interestingly, we have our main offices are here. Of course, being a state agency, we have our main offices here in Carson City. We have another office in Las Vegas as well, so we have a little better access and connectivity down there. But it really, within Carson City and the agency in particular, it creates this really cool hub that is here and a focal point here. And frankly, what's really exciting to see what's happening in Carson City is the focus and the attention around arts and culture and the importance and critical nature that it has in economic development, quality of life, and really sustaining a vibrant community. So it's exciting to see all of that happening here for sure. Absolutely.
Carson City has really started to put a focus on arts in our community with more public art and with adding some art installations around the community at various galleries. Does NAC support any of that work?
We do. There are instances where we support, again, through some of the grant opportunities that have been out there. Mark Salinas, who has recently come into, has been here a little over a year. He came in through the tourism side of Carson City. Now is moving over to the city side. He's actually a board member of the Nevada Arts Council. He sits on our board. Our board is governor appointed, and he has, I think he's really been instrumental in connecting the dots a bit to say with regards to bringing a lot of what's happening in Carson City together. And, our role in that is to help facilitate, to help connect, convene. We mentioned our community arts development team. They come in and help be a part of that, provide resources both in financial resources where appropriate, but then also through just connecting each other and being able to help bring people together based on our resources too.
And you're talking about your resources, which are really important. Funding for the arts has been sort of in jeopardy for a long time now. It's one of those things that's easy to put on the chopping block, and it's been hard to continue funding for the arts, but the recent budget bill passed by Congress did actually include a funding increase for the National Endowment for the Arts. How's that going to affect your work?
So it's a really great question. I'm glad you asked that. And yes, we were watching that very closely in terms of the Arts Council receives nearly $700,000 from the National Endowment for the Arts. We take that and distribute that through our grant program back out into the state, as well as it does provide some resources from a staffing perspective for us to do this work. We combine that with state funding, and ultimately in every year we give out roughly $1 million in grant funding. That the National Endowment for the Arts and the money from the NEA, 40% of what they receive goes to state arts agencies throughout the country, like the Nevada Arts Council. So it's mandated in their charter. We apply through that with a grant, just like our constituents apply to us for the money. We apply to the National Endowment for the Arts, and it's a paneled process. So it's not the NEA saying, we're going to pick and choose or we're going to give you the money. It is professionals in the industry of arts and culture and heritage and creativity that are in there looking at our grant proposal. That's aligned to our strategic plan. It's aligned to what we're trying to do here in the state with the governor's priorities and objectives. So it's a really thoughtful process. And when you look at that return on investment of that NEA money, for every dollar of NEA funding that is given out, the return on investment of that is $9 back to the communities that it serves. So it's a tremendous value and resource. Looking at what the state does on behalf of that, they add to that. We have about a $3 million budget, 2.8 roughly $1 million budget every year. So the state is helping to contribute to this as well. I think when you described about it's a thing that gets cut, I think what is really exciting to see now is that people are starting to understand the economic value, the economic development value that it has, the quality of life indicators that arts and culture bring into a community, and that it actually is work. It drives the economy in such a great way. It helps with tourism, which is also very important for our state.
Especially here in Nevada.
Yes, yeah. So really great ways that we use that money, and really it does help. It benefits us so greatly here in Nevada, here directly in Carson City.
How can individual artists or arts organizations get more information about your funding if they wanted to be part of that and wanted to receive some of this funding to advance the arts in their own communities?
Right. So if do a web search for Nevada Arts Council is the easy way to do that. We do an annual process of grants. There's annual grants that we offer. We actually have some quarterly grants that we offer. Everything from arts learning and artist residency express grants that we have. Jackpot grants, we call them, that are kind of quick little pops of $1,000 a piece for particular projects, We offer operational grants on an annual basis, which are for those organizations who apply for grants, realize that operational funding is very difficult to come by. And again, all of this is juried and paneled and looked at, and we're trying to, our whole goal on this is to get the money out there for sure. And there are tremendous opportunities. And we just encourage everyone to take a look at that and call us if you want more questions. Take a look at our website. But there's a tremendous amount of grant funding that's available there on a continual basis. So.
All right, fantastic. And hopefully some people will check that out.
Thanks.
But also, hopefully people will get out in our community and check out the art that is happening right here in Carson City.
For sure. It's a lot of vibrancy that's happening right now, and it's exciting to see. It's really exciting to see.
Tony Manfredi, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
And thanks to all of you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City, brought to you by Classy Seconds Thrift Store in Carson City. Check out their new store or visit them on Facebook. If your business would like to sponsor a future edition of It's Your City, please contact Darla at the address shown on your screen. I'm Cortney Bloomer. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.